Welcome to another episode of the Prep Coach podcast. Actually, it's the last one for this year.
I know, it's sad.
I know.
It's made a little bit sweeter by the fact that we're going to see everyone at Powerhouse. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be a good crew, I think.
Heaps of people come. I'm looking forward to it.
It's going to be awesome.
Based on the amount of people I'm doing exercises with, I think I'm doing 47 weeks.
That's what happened last time. Like, we're just roaming around. We're just
and I actually did fuck all sets last time, to be honest.
Yeah, because you're roaming around, you're talking to people. Yeah, it's fun. It's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. We got more questions about training. Training's definitely been a theme that's happened over the last couple of weeks, which I'm enjoying. And I did speak to some people, and they said they're really, really enjoying it, and they're getting a lot out of it. So we're definitely going to continue on that theme this week. But I wanted to bring up something that I spoke to you about. You were sitting in the room there. The recent event that happened in Bondi, and just the tragedy of everything that happened. And I know that, like, I don't listen to the news, I don't watch much, but it kept getting sent to me, especially on Monday, and it was really difficult to deal with. It was like very emotional. Obviously, it's hard because you're trying to do work, you're trying to stay concentrated, but then all these things are coming up, and yeah, it was crazy. I can only imagine what all those people were going through during that time. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah, it was heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. I kept replaying it over and over in my head. Tried to stay off social media because it just throws all the videos down your throats, and the horrible ones, and then equally the acts of those that were just so brave and heroic. Obviously the guy who pulled the gun off absolute weapon, fruit shop owner, what a boss.
Yeah,
like what a legend. And I don't know if you saw the video of the older man who did get shot, poor guy, who was throwing bricks.
Oh really?
At the gunman as well. Just
wow.
So after
I didn't see that. He's throwing bricks.
Yeah. Well, you got to try something, Jesus.
Yeah, fucking legend, man. And it's an older guy, absolute fucking legend. This is right after he disarmed him.
Mm-hmm.
Another 10 seconds or 20 seconds on that video, you'll see the guy
running up. So he was throwing bricks, was he?
I
thought it was a bottle or something.
No, it's bricks, yeah.
Okay.
And he got shot, did he?
Yeah. So just so fucked, man. I think you just never think it's going to happen.
No.
So close. So for me, straight away, I was like, I'm just thinking about all the athletes I know from Sydney. So I was
straight away. Yeah. Is anyone there?
Yeah, I was thinking of people I directly coach.
Yeah.
I know some close friends that had family going up that weekend. Like so many things. So yeah, our heart goes out to everyone. And oh man, I just hope nothing like that ever happens again. I was saying to you before, I wish extremism was on something, like extremely focused on something that has a positive outcome, like extremely devote your life to fucking helping disadvantaged people or people that are sick or fucking elderly people, like go extreme on that and just like 24 hours a day help old people. Like
put your energy into something positive.
Why does it have to be in something that yields no good outcome, man?
Yeah, it's really sad, especially this time of year. Obviously, a lot of people spending time with their family. Everyone was out there with kids.
Man, so many kids, man. Like,
yeah,
just. I mean, even your child having to be there and witness it.
I know.
Will have a consequence.
Mm-hmm.
Having to watch people go through that. No one should have to watch somebody go through that. Like, I always have this thing. Like, I want my kids to see people die, like at an old age in a hospital bed. I know that's not always reality, but like you don't want your kids to see that and have to process that.
No.
So, but yeah, man, some of the brave people. Crazy. There was a video that Ahmed, his dad. He interviewed his dad, and he said, it's instilled in him. I think he used to be in the army or was a Marine or something originally, and he knew that he had to do it. I think he got shot 5 times, and I think there was a story that said he said to someone, "Please tell my family I love them," because he thought he was going to die and he was going to use his time to make sure that he stopped anyone else from dying. So it's he deserves to live through it so that he can be appreciated for It's also like, think about the guns that they were using. Like if that was 15 years ago and gun laws were different, you could have an automatic or a semi-automatic back then. Would 12 have been 55? Like,
yeah.
But also how many people he saved.
Yeah.
Like, the guy was on the front line just picking people.
He just hid behind a car and like this got him from the back.
Yeah, so he could have saved 20, 30 additional lives. Yeah, it's
crazy.
And I think what's the background of Ahmed, he's from Syria. Like, fucking legend, man. Like, you can't even say like people would be like quick to point fingers, maybe culturally, but it's just fucking extremism. That's why I said like focus on being extreme at something that yields a positive outcome.
Definitely.
Go fucking pat 1,000 dogs tomorrow. Like, be extreme at your dog patting. Seriously.
Reminds me of something that I saw when I was going shopping, because I was doing Christmas shopping, and when you see like little things, like T-shirts that have slogans on them, and things like that. There was one that I thought of you, but you'll figure it out later. I'll tell you later about what it said.
Is that because you can't say it on the screen, or is that because you bought it?
Maybe.
I can't say it.
When I thought of you, I was like, Is
it a legally compliant T-shirt?
Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, it definitely is.
To check.
All right. Do you want to get into some questions? All right, let's do it. All right. Are people overusing machines versus free weights, or is it an outdated debate? So with this question, when it came through, I had a look at it and I was like, let's spin it a little bit and let's think of, are there any exercises that you do personally or program that you would always prefer a machine over a free weight? Can you list some of them if you got any examples?
Yeah, I would prefer a glute drive. I'd much prefer a machine
over a bar?
Over a barbell, just because loading wise, the bar always ends up to go as heavy as you need to go, destroying your legs, versus the seat belt you wear on that feels a little bit better. Hack squat or any kind of axial loaded squatting pattern versus, and I used to be a massive advocate because I just love heavy barbell back squatting, but as you get older and the systemic fatigue and just the time that you have to allocate to your warm up and just more mobility prior to doing that versus say a hack squat or a pendulum or a V squat or a belt squat. So to be honest, I think there's no good or bad exercise. They're just tools that we have access to. But I think when you're factoring in the stimulus to fatigue ratio, if you're someone that trains very hard and that your sessions go for say 75 minutes plus, you have to factor that into your exercise selection. And so if you were going to do say a dumbbell shoulder press, would it be, is the reality that you're going to be limited from a loading perspective with a dumbbell versus say a pin load or a plate load?
Well, practically yes,
yeah,
because you've got to get the dumbbells up.
And sometimes that's the hardest part, but also the fatigue you accumulate just trying to get them up and then to balance versus when you're in a machine, it's obviously set up, for that. So I think like everything we've evolved, we've gotten better at it. So both of those exercises deposit stress to a certain area, but the way that you're able to do that and the efficiency and obviously the longevity of that exercise and your session is going to be determined by that. So not to say that dumbbells and barbells, there's absolutely a place for them. For example, for me, if I was to choose between an SLDL with a barbell or an RDL using a belt squat, I know a lot of people that will always choose a belt squat. For me, and that barbell every single week.
Yeah, it was actually a question we were going to ask. Was like, is there something that you'd always use a free weight
for sure
and not a machine?
Yeah,
even if you had the ability to do a machine for that specific movement.
Yeah, or a cable. Yeah, like as in like a dumbbell even over a cable or a machine.
Yeah, like I think the RDL is a perfect one. I'd always use a bar. I'd never try to use some kind of machine related RDL.
Yeah, man. Even for me, like pretty much every row pattern.
Rows, yeah.
Over like a bent barbell row or a single arm dumbbell row. Some of these low and high row plate loaded machines, man, where you can just really anchor in, get a little bit of extra support, prioritize, leaning into one side. The risk is low. You can control it so much better. And even just the loading of it, like to set a barbell for a bent row versus, say, Scotty's plate loaded machine. It's a no-brainer for me. But like an example of like one I will always do a dumbbell is over, say, a rope is a skull crusher.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do that over. I'll always just do a dumbbell skull crusher forever. You won't see me doing overhead ropes.
With the
like the feeling I get after 2 sets of dumbbell skull crushers versus
Yeah.
4 sets of ropes. It's
Is there, I don't know if there's ever been any research done, but like, you know how when you do dumbbells on a chest press or a shoulder press, obviously there's some stabilization going on.
Mhm.
Do you get more stimulus, more growth because you're trying to stabilize a free weight over if you were just doing the machine variation of that? Has there ever been anything researched on that concept?
I'm sure there probably is, but off the top of my head, I don't have it. And I think there's just so much variance within that. If you're going to do that and you're going to try and, if I'm thinking and putting my standardization hat on and thinking about how would you conduct that from a research standpoint, let's say that you're going to do an incline bench press versus a machine incline bench press. Is there more growth? You'd have to factor in, you've got to get the angles exactly the same in order to standardize it. So you'd have to set up whatever the machine, because the machine's going to be fixed versus a dumbbell is not fixed. So you'd have to get that right. Once you're in that position, you know, you'd have to be able to identify, are they in that exact angle or are they moving? Are they pivoting? And then you'd have to use an EMG to identify, is there more stress? Then you'd have to do ultrasound to identify at the start, you know, is there an increase in cross-sectional area or is there a decrease between the two?
There's so many things. Because even I'm thinking it's like,
if you were going to do a really good job of being able to iron out any kind of noise in the data, and for me, I don't know that you'd be able to do it. It'd be easy to just say, this group did
dumbbell pressing,
did free weights.
Yeah.
This group did machines. They did 3 sets of 10 to 12,
Yeah.
and they made sure they did it. They did rep max testing to see that they're working between 80%. And then there were rules that if they were able to hit the top end range the next week, they progressed, things like that. And then you would just, it would have to be randomized, and then you would just basically to scan them, ultrasound, see who grew more. But again, there's going to be genetic variance. Some people, and then you'd also have to control for diet. Did so and so eat enough protein? Did someone have caffeine prior to their workout? But
push harder. Yeah, of course.
What about this for a question then? Do you think, as one example, just thinking about everyone you've coached over the last 5 years, if we use a incline press, let's just say whether it's dumbbells or a barbell press, and I said your athletes can either do a barbell incline press or use a Smith machine for the same incline press, would most go closer to failure on the Smith than they would with a barbell and dumbbell?
Yeah, there's a couple of things. You'd go closer to failure. You could probably get more load eventually, because
their headspace in the exercise, knowing that they're probably a bit safer, is...
Sure.
So there's probably a lot of positives for the machine side that you could use as a...
Because I look at that too, it's like you'd probably get to a point where you could eventually put more load and stress on the machine than you could on the dumbbells. Because, again, you've got to get them up there.
The getting up bit is a huge...
stabilizing going on.
But also intentionally where you're depositing that stress. Again, you might be able to move the load from A to B. You might do an incline press and you're bouncing it off your chest, versus you may have a lot more eccentric control. The cadence might be a lot better on a machine, because you can move that load through a specific plane with a lot more control and safety.
Yeah. Also too is with things like machines, you can do more intensity techniques. Yeah. Like you can't do a cluster set or rest pause set with dumbbells, because you've got to...
You can, but it's fucking not efficient at all. Yes.
You could, but also, or you'd have to drop the weight pretty drastically. And even then, you're fatigued.
Whereas with the Smith or a machine, you just rack it, rest for your 3 seconds, 10 seconds, whatever you give them, unrack, keep going, rack, so on and so forth. So there's actually, you can't utilize some intensity techniques when you're using a free weight as well.
So have we reached the conclusion?
If you had to choose between, if you had the option, I've got an athlete, and for the next 8 weeks, they could either solely use machines or they could solely use free weights, I'd be like, use machines every day of the week.
Yeah. I'd agree.
But if you've got the ability to pick a blend...
I think that's the final decision, except for maybe a minority of movements, like an RDL or something.
Is that up for negotiation?
It's,
I agree with you guys.
Yeah.
I think it's machine.
It's up for discussion. It's up for discussion.
I mean, as somebody who, would say, as a percentage, I reckon I'm probably 80-20.
80 on machines?
80 on machines and 20 on... And I'm including cables as machines, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So...
Yeah. What training mistakes do experienced competitors make that beginners don't? Think about that one.
What training do
experienced athletes do that beginners don't?
Maybe sometimes getting so caught up in the number when chasing progressive overload that perhaps, they stop prioritizing execution, whereas a newbie, you're just like, I just want to try and learn to get it right, which is probably enough to actually yield your result anyway. But, these are the reasons why, we see things like tendinopathy spiking all the time. It's like, execution's gone because you're just like, I did 10, I've got to do 11. In reality, that after 9, you're probably pretty close to failure. Not to say you shouldn't have tried it the 10th, but you should have tried it in the correct way. Just to get that number, you're pulling and you're not actually getting it in the targeted tissue. And so maybe just getting so caught up in the data sometimes that you start to forget about the important things like cadence. Definitely goes out the window a lot.
I would think, unless the experienced competitor's been coached from the beginning and they've been coached good form, good tempo, etc., I think if you tried to coach an experienced person and try to maybe reevaluate their form, their intensity, maybe their technique, they might be more resistant to it, want to continue the ego lift because they've already been lifting that way. Whereas a beginner, they're like a sponge. You tell them to do it a certain way and you can build it from the ground up. So I think maybe the beginner is more malleable, where the experienced person is like, oh, I don't really want to hear that. I've been doing bench press and using these dumbbells forever, and I don't want to drop it down half the weight to do better range of motion or something like that. Is there anything you can think of?
No, the first thing that came to mind was stubbornness / resistance to change.
Yeah, okay, yeah. We're on the same page there. Are there certain exercises that are overused simply because they are popular, not effective?
No, we sort of touched on this a few weeks ago, more so like that we don't program them because we don't believe they're efficient or effective. I mean, most things that are used a lot are probably used a lot because they're effective. I think, yeah, for the most part, if you've had your technique reviewed and it looks to be right, most of the stuff we all use over and over again is pretty solid.
I think that as machines have gotten better for certain movements, people are more likely to move away from what's popular. Because, what's popular is barbell squat, barbell bench press. But now there's way better squat machines, way better pressing machines that now people are more open to picking something and not sticking to the staple.
I reckon when we started at Victory in FOS back in 1998 or 7, I reckon there might have been a squat machine.
Yeah, but it was shit. It was
right?
Not. So you're like, stick to barbells. That's the best.
Yeah, it's the best, mate.
So and now when you've got awesome squat machines, how many you got in this?
Man, and 25 years ago, if you were using a squat machine, it's like,
what a pussy.
Now it's like, what, you're barbell squatting? What? Yeah. Man, why haven't you tried the V squat?
It's like, why are you barbell squatting? Get on a V squat, you get good depth, you don't feel in your back.
And go on a belt squat, no actual loading. Whereas back then, it was like, he's got a belt around his waist. It ties onto the rack, looser. What about what exercise? This is just one I think about a bit. What exercise would you love to see more people do correctly? I've got a really simple example.
Yeah. Actually, there's a question in here.
Oh, yeah, kind of goes.
Yeah, cool. Let's talk about it.
And Scotty's a great example of this exercise because if you watch him do it, and a lot of people are like, fucking makes sense now when you see him do it and get him to explain it. But a straight arm pull down.
Yeah.
Fucking straight arm pull down. And how it is a fucking lat movement, but so many people go into lower back extension and use triceps.
Or whatever it is, yeah.
So,
okay. Yeah, there was a question about what is the most common exercise that you are reviewing people's form and continuing need to.
It's not that one
give them
because
feedback.
people don't see that video, but it's one that is.
Yeah. So for me, it's lateral raises.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah. And lat pull down.
For sure. Yeah.
Lat pull down. The most common mistake I see is not stretching all the way up and shrugging the shoulder, like getting, your shoulder stretched all the way up, and then starting the movement with unshrugging the shoulder. And then pulling. That's probably one of the most common mistakes. There's a lot of other mistakes, and that's one of the most common things that if they think they're doing everything else right, that's normally the one that they're missing. They're pulling down and they're still having their shoulders up and shrugged and they're trying to pull down.
Yep.
And then, you got any on that? Lat pull down? Or anything?
For me, the lat pull down, it's usually the flight path of the elbow. With any pulling movement, the direction of the elbow is so important, but lat pull down would be at the top, and the next one would probably be a deadlift or the SLDL. But most time when people are doing it, they're either drifting further forward, and as they're pulling, the elbow is going back on that direction. Let's say that it's wrong, but in terms of bias towards certain tissue, i.e. the lats, you're not maximizing that engagement versus, we spoke about the importance of adduction as well as, again, driving the elbow down into the hip pocket and staying within that.
I got a lot of messages about that Q last week.
Oh, you did? Okay, good.
I think that, and even a little rows, to be honest, in terms of where they're trying to bias it, and some people will be performing a row. It could be in there as a horizontal row trying to hit the midpoint of your back, but you're rowing really, really close to the body, which not to say it's wrong, but again, you're hitting more of the lat. If you're trying to hit the upper back, then you're going to want to try and lift the elbows out a bit wider. And again, drag and then retract and squeeze.
Yeah.
And the other one is a deadlift. It's a bit of a pet peeve of mine. I think you go into any commercial gym, it doesn't matter where it is. I reckon if we went into, say you walked into the Ultimate Leisure Center right now, I can guarantee you would see someone doing a really bad deadlift.
Yeah.
And it's probably being coached by a really uneducated trainer who
Doesn't give a fuck.
pretty much, and he's probably on Instagram whilst he's coaching it. It happens all the time. Whenever we head up to Gold Coast, train at Club Lime at the Oasis there, and because I don't train in a commercial setting very rarely, I can't help but observe, and I used to train about 5:30, and it's usually there's someone who's doing something and there's a coach who's, yep, you've got 5 more, and then they're doing this. Yep, they've done like 4 reps. Yep, you've got 3 more to go. And they're like, you just told me like 5 reps ago I had 4 more to go. They got no idea. But the execution is just dreadful.
Yeah.
And they're being paid for it, but it's more the athlete not even the athlete.
There's no pride.
The individual. There's no pride, but the individual is performing it wrong. And the deadlift's one of those things where they're doing something that's outside their scope of where they actually should be at. Teach them how to firstly pick up and do a kettlebell deadlift, an 8 kilo one, teach them the technique right. But one of the easiest cues that I always have and that we teach here with all of our introductory classes is that the chest and the hips should rise synergistically versus you'll see someone do a deadlift off the ground, bum up, and then go through.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm just like,
It's a great erector pull.
Yeah.
yeah, and then I can't. I had someone reach out to me saying, "Oh, I know you're a big advocate for deadlifts. They just hurt my back." I'm like, they hurt your back because you probably don't do them properly. They're actually going to strengthen your back. It's normal to have
Some blood in there, yeah.
I did heavy SLTOs yesterday, and I've got a little bit of tightness in my erectors, but I would expect that given that they're required to stabilize. But I can tell you, my hamstrings and my glutes are tenfold sore because they're being utilized in that lift. And I think with any movement, if you teach the foundations right and the basics and you get those mechanics, because with a movement that's complex like that, there's always going to be an element of skill acquisition that takes time. But yeah, I think lat pull down is a lot less likely to injure you, but that's probably the number one. And for me, I think the deadlift would be number 2. And a squat's probably not far behind that.
Yeah, for me, the lateral raise. Raising with the hand high, going back, using the rear delt. I said to people,
hyperextension.
How many times I've cued elbow leads the movement, elbow high, wrist low, roll the shoulder slightly forward. I don't want to see your armpits in the movement. So that's a really, really common one.
Yeah, sometimes at mine in the morning, if I see that, I'll be like, this. Be like, whoa, it's not a hit for us. Take it.
Yeah.
But man, like that is a cue, that lateral raise. Like, I think this and everything he just said as well. It's just like if the shoulder just leads the entire time, and then everything catches it towards the end. If you're driving
with your hand
and the hand goes up, like look at that instantaneously. You're
going to rotate your shoulder backwards,
and so
you're going to use your rear delt, right?
And your forearms. So it's like
yeah. So just elbow high, wrist stays low, shoulder forward.
That's it. Yeah, and sometimes I'll get people to just slightly hinge forward, so that to move the hips is a little bit harder, and go right back in weight and just like
so they stay forward.
They can't
go
back the hips forward if you're already slightly hinged.
Or get them to do it seated.
Or get them to do it seated. Someone did a video about that yesterday. It's like an IFBB Olympian.
Okay.
So just like lie back on a seat on an incline, no scapular assistance whatsoever because it's locked on the bench. See what weight you can do. See if you normally do 12 and a half. Grab 12 and a half and see if you can do 12 and a half raises.
Is there a point where adding more exercise variation actually slows progress?
I think so. I actually saw someone on Instagram. I don't go much on Instagram these days because I feel like there's just so many experts who. There's a saying that I want to say, and I think you know, who don't know this from their this.
No, please.
Please, I'm not going to say it.
It's not PG. It's not.
But it's like variation is the spice of life. I think that's what I saw, and I'm just like, that's the dumbest thing I've heard of. Like to an extent, maybe, but if you're someone that wants to improve and get better, you get better and you're going to build muscle by getting better at that particular movement. And as I said before, there is an element of acquiring the skill before you need to learn how to get good at the exercise. Then once you can get good at the exercise, then get really, really strong at it.
Yeah.
But it's like you will progress linearly from a strength perspective whilst you're still learning it. But the goal shouldn't be to try and get super, super strong while you're introducing a new movement. master it, execute it, and then from there, you'll be able to progress. But
I look at that question in two ways: is variation in how many times you change the program so that you can continue to vary your movements. And I know we've spoken about that. Program should go for longer than maybe 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, not shorter like 4 or 5 weeks or 6 weeks. So there's that. But then inside the program, how much variation do you have for a movement pattern? So for instance, lat pull down, right? How many lat pull down different variations do you have in one program? Would you have one? It's always one, or do you have maybe two? One's a neutral, one's a wide.
No, two, definitely two.
Okay.
we're talking about vertical pulling, not
Yeah. So I mean, like again, for bicep curls, right? How many bicep curls variation do you put in one program? Is it just normally 2 or 3? Is there 5 different ones? Every time you do a bicep movement, it's got to be a different one.
Yeah, I mean,
what do you normally do?
I'll stick to 2. Like, let's just use female competitors who are doing pull movements twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have 2 vertical pulls, and they'll be different. One will be just like a standard mag grip, and one will be something a little bit more narrow, maybe with an underhand.
Sure.
Just.
You're not trying to do all the variations.
No, I'm not going to do wide grip, middle grip, like off the cable, off the floor.
If you're doing wide grip on a Wednesday, and the next Wednesday I'm going to do neutral grip, and then the week after I'm going to do a pull up, and then I'm going to use the rings, and then I'm going to do.
That's not following a program. That's just doing something different every week.
That's the program. That's variation.
Variation is the spice of life. It's great for like travel, restaurants, not bodybuilding.
I like to be dull and boring and just do the same thing every week. But is there anything else that maybe you wouldn't have different variations? So like an SLDL or an RDL, right? Would you just have that one barbell variation for every time you do that movement in a program? Or would you maybe have a dumbbell variation and a barbell variation?
Yeah, you could have the 2.
Yep.
Or you might, for example, I wouldn't usually, unless someone has a reason behind it, have the stiff leg in there twice. It might be an SLDL off the floor, and then it could be a rack pull, or it's an RDL, or it might be a barbell because you can usually go heavier, and then it might be dumbbell stiff-legged deadlifts on the other day because you can typically go a little bit deeper with that, but you can also probably take a little bit more volume. Like if you're holding the 50s, you can go really, really slow with a stiff-legged deadlift, and that will feel probably similar to if you were to do, say, 160, with less volume, because you're able to get a lot more of a stretch. You can send the hips further back, and also you're probably not going to get the same neural fatigue from that as you would from that.
Yeah. So it sounds like 1 to 2, maybe 3 variations of a movement in one program, but then you stick to that program for.
I think maybe one of the only caveats that would be potentially isolation or a specialty phase. So if I'm programming like, say, an arms block, then like for example, I would have on my I have an arms day on a Saturday with some legs as well, but it's hitting biceps and triceps through different angles, different positions. So I'm challenging in the short range, lengthen range, and also utilizing different position, shoulder flexed versus all the way back, so that you're literally ticking it from every single box.
Yeah, okay.
But if that was on a pull day, I wouldn't have all of those there. It's because that session you've got the time to do that.
And then you can hit it from different rep schemes. You can do
6
to 10 on Tuesday and 15 plus on Saturday in the same movement pattern.
Yeah.
I just can't, my inner child can't stop smiling every time Scott says sniff. I don't know why. If you saw me smiling, that's why every time. People listening or watching will understand. I bet there was people out there who smiled every time you said sniff.
How much does exercise order really matter? Or is it only if you're advanced?
Did we cover this just recently?
I think we spoke about... Yeah, maybe we did. But does order... I know we spoke about if you're doing a weak point, then you would put it first. Like the ordering of your weak points would be a little bit first.
Yeah, I thought we covered this.
Okay. A question I normally get is, I couldn't follow the program with someone else on that machine.
Yeah. That's a good example. That's a good
right?
example.
Does it really matter if I didn't do it in that order for this day? And my answer is no. Like, you don't want to do it all the time like that, because I put it in that order for a specific reason.
For sure.
Yeah. Right? So...
But you can still be smart about switching it and not putting yourself behind.
You're meant to do hamstrings first, you're meant to deadlift first, and all the bars are taken, you're like, I'll come back and I'll do that at the very end of the workout. Probably not going to be ideal, but you want to be like, all right, I'll do quads first and then I'll do hamstrings second.
Yeah.
The other thing is you would probably need to adjust your loading parameters against when you're then doing that. Because say that I want to try and use I want to do a RDL and I need to do hamstrings first because that's our goal. and all of the racks are taken, or I'm going to do all my hamstring movement first, and then I'll do my RDLs last. It's not ideal, but what I will do is, if I was going to RDL 200 kilos for a set of 8 to 10, I've just done 6 or 7 sets of hamstrings, a bit fatigued. Maybe I'll do 180, and then maybe I'll just take a little bit more volume if I can, because in reality, if I try and hit that weight that I'd planned, doing it after I've already accumulated some fatigue, the likelihood is it's not going to move great. I'm going to get frustrated. It might impact my session. So I would just say auto-regulate it, because it's all probably relative.
Yeah. One thing you mentioned there, and I'll just talk about it a little bit more, is you said if I missed out on that exercise, then I'll do that muscle group later. So for instance, and it's hard to predict, but for instance, if you do leg extension before you do a squat, but you rock up to the gym and there's a guy's just started on the squat machine, you're like, there's no point in me doing a leg extension because he's probably not going to be done. So I'll move the quad movements till later, and I'll do the hamstring movements first.
You just switch
them around. Yeah. But you wouldn't go, I'll do a leg extension,
then do hamstring,
and then I'll go do hamstring, and then go back and do quads later.
No,
so
you're trying to stick with the
thing. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Makes sense. Anything on that?
No, thinking about like upper body. Let's just say it was a push day, and I had these movements. I had like a plate loaded incline press. I had a chest fly. I had a shoulder press, and I had laterals and some tricep movement. Let's just say skull crushers. And I go in there, and both the shoulder press and the plate loaded incline chest press are both taken. I wouldn't go and do skull crushers because I know that's going to say I'd rather do a lateral raise and shoulder press first, and then go and press after that than do like an arm movement that's going to fatigue my other big ones. That's
because that particular muscle group is going to assist both of those horizontal and vertical pressing movements. So, for sure. So you just don't do the isolation first. Yeah. Unless it's calves.
Yeah, true.
That's a trade-off.
True.
Train your calves early.
How do you adjust your training for athletes who are strong but can't connect with their target muscles? So if someone came to me and it was, I don't know, they were super strong in the lat pull down, for instance, right? We're talking about lats all the time. Super strong in the lat pull down, but they're like, I don't feel it in my lats. Maybe some things I'd put in their program is you got to do a pause contraction, or you've got to do a slow negative, or you
should do a straight arm pull first.
Or you should do a straight arm pull first. So they might be super strong in a movement, but if they're not feeling it, then I might put some of those techniques into their program to make maybe slow them down, or to make them think about the target muscle, or to slow the movement.
Give them a set of isotonics. And you have to find an exercise where that doesn't do the job. Give them a 4-second negative and a 2-second concentric, so it's really, really slow, really, really controlled. Because you'll find out real quick if they're training lats and they're like, I only feel my biceps, well, it means that you're probably not driving through your elbows.
You had me on 3-3-3, which is 3 contraction, 3 hold, 3 eccentric on a leg extension, but that's a 9-second rep.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah. You tell me that at 5, you're like, how the fuck am I going to do 5 more?
Yeah.
And you feel it where you're supposed to. The other part to that is like, how did this person get strong if they don't?
Well, they're probably their form.
They're like, so, is it a form thing? But like also...
Or is it a cadence thing? If you have a rapid eccentric contraction followed by a rapid concentric, so something, if I'm squatting and I drop really quick and then I bounce back up really quick, you create elastic energy versus...
so you're strong in the squat.
But versus if I'm really, really slow and then I brace and then I come back up, am I going to be able to move the same amount of load?
No. And you're probably going to fill in your quads with less weight. So
I did just feel in my quads. Jesus.
You're a strong porcelain protector, the way that you put that wrapping around the toilet seat. You are a strong man.
Who, me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen you wrap a few seats in your time.
I'm strong, but I feel it in the target muscle.
Yeah. The pride. That's the target muscle, your pride.
Let's end on this one.
Okay, if you guys are wondering what I'm trying to get Normally to come in for the last question. Everybody who listens to the Poddy probably does know.
Should we just drink and go, we're done? And then just get him to come and sit down and have a conversation.
So everyone listen to this. All right. See you guys. We'll see you next year. Thanks for a great Poddy.
Done. Normie.
You come in now, Normie.
Normie, come on, mate.
Just one little 30 second slot. Come on, it's the last 30 seconds for the year.
Yeah, just Merry Christmas.
Come on.
See when
the last 30 seconds for the year. Quick.
Just
get over here. Normie.
Quickly.
Close the door.
No,
Close the door.
Normie.
He closed the door.
Oh, you fucking...
Well,
all right, that didn't work.
we might try part of it.
He knew that we were trying to do it and he closed the door.
He's left himself in the office now.
Yeah, he's indisposed.
It's,
All right. We're done.
yeah, great year.
That's it. It was a great year.
Great way to finish. Thanks for everyone's support. Yeah, we can't. I mean, I feel like this year for the podcast was, you know, the best since it started. Not just for the reasons of being acknowledged on the awards through BTS, but I think just the amount of stuff that we put out there, the amount of things that we answered, and how much, hopefully knowledge we've given back, not just to athletes, but lots of coaches as well. And, one of the things somebody said to me the other day at mine was like, I haven't really heard of, certainly in natural bodybuilding, like any really terrible protocols or plans lately. I wonder how much you guys had to do with that. So I hope we did. So that was
That's what we're trying to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. It's another year done. We're going to see some people on the weekend at the meetup, but otherwise we'll see all you guys in.
If you're coming to the meetup, try and be on your first set at 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can get a good
Definitely.
good session.
All right. Any last words, Scotty? You good?
No, good.
All right. Let's do it.
3,
2,
1.